Hi everyone, and welcome to this unboxing video. So today I have something exciting. It's a PS Vita that is still brand new in box and has basically been sealed since it released around 2012. And on top of that, I have a mystery game here which we will be opening after the PS Vita. So stick around for that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this box and check out this brand new PS Vita. This thing was taped up pretty well. Did you look at that? It was shipped in an Amazon box. So to give a little more detail on the PS Vita and how I purchased it, I bought this on eBay. And honestly, for it to be brand new, I would say I paid a really good price for this, possibly the best price on the market. And I'll go into that in a little more detail once I get into this package. Okay, so here it is. Again, bought it off of eBay. I'm not really sure. Seller had positive reviews. You know, all the images on eBay showed it, you know, still had its original packaging, still had its, you know, original stickers. So, you know, I'm a little nervous, but let's go ahead and, you know, pull this thing out. And nice and, you know, bubble wrap. Feels about, you know, the right size and all. So let's go ahead and get this extra layer of tape cut off. All right, that popped right off. Oh, still has some more tape. Let's get into this side. Nice. Let's cut into this other half of tape here. Okay, cool. All right, the Vita should, you know, be right here. Let's pull it out. Look at that. Brand new PS Vita. Let's, you know, reassess these stickers. Stickers look... all stickers look in order. This one's a little loose, but, you know, the others are, you know, tight on there. Brand new PS Vita in 2025. I was told this was a launch model, so I believe, again, they were released around, I would say, 2012. So this thing has been sealed for, what is that, 13 years? So this particular model is the 1100. So it is before the Slim, and it is the version which you can connect with 3G if you have a SIM card, I believe, put into the device. So yeah, it, you know, goes beyond Wi-Fi capabilities if you connect it to cell service, which is pretty neat. My brother actually has a Vita of his own, and, you know, I have the original box here to that one, so let me show it to you here in a second. So here's that box to his Vita, and then this is the Vita that I just picked up. I never had one myself. My brother had one, you know, I saw him play it. It always looked pretty cool and fun, but from what I remember, we never really used it too much. So I decided to, you know, get one of my own. So here you can see his is the Wi-Fi only model. So you can see it here on the bottom, Wi-Fi. And you have the cell one, which shows 3G and Wi-Fi. Pretty neat. So this model is the 1100 and this one is the 1000. Also, really quick, I just want to say quick shout out to my brother for, helping make this video happen. He did, basically give me a push to go ahead and pull the trigger on getting this PS Vita. And, he's also helped me out a bit with, some of my upcoming setup for my upcoming videos. So yeah, big shout out to him. Hopefully the quality of my videos goes up from here. Let's do a quick comparison of these two, boxes on the back. So it looks like primarily everything is basically the same. This particular version, I believe, has some French on it. This is my brother's 1000 model, and this is the 1100 model that, I just picked up off eBay. And here, a quick difference you can spot, everything seems to be in English on this one. You have a connected by AT&T, little message here, versus, the 1000 model just has a connect. So I'm assuming that's for Wi-Fi. And, now for the unboxing of this PS Vita, let's get this thing cracked open. So, a lot of you or anyone watching, might find me kind of crazy for doing this. The box itself is in amazing shape. I wasn't expecting it to be this great. So I was going to cut into the sticker, but it does look very loose. So I'm going to just flap it open and stick it to itself if it does. Nice, keep that sticker intact. So you might think I'm crazy, but we're gonna see a piece of history being unboxed here. And that's it. This 2012 model has had its seals broken. Now, I'm only opening this for one of two things. A lot of you might be a little upset at me. For anyone, who is keen on actually collecting items, I'm gonna open it. I'm going to be playing it as I, don't have one of my own. And, I also just want to make sure that this thing is actually in there. Okay, let's open this right up. Now let's take a look at this. AR play cards, bring the world into play. Let me get this out of the way. Opening the box back up. So as mentioned, this PlayStation box is in a lot better shape than I was expecting it. I did see some more messed up ones on eBay. This one looked like it was in good condition, but it was definitely not the one in, basically mint condition in the box. I did not want to, attempt to buy any of those if I knew I was going to be opening it. But, this is way better than anything I could have asked for the price that I got it for. Let's go ahead and look into, the rest of this box. And then, I'll talk about, what I actually got this, system for. So in here, another menu. It says quick start menu. Nice. There's a welcome message connected. Let's see if you can see that. Welcome message here. It says connected by AT&T. Let me zoom in on this message in case you want to pause the video and read that. Okay, cool. Next step. Popping that open. It's got its proprietary charger here. So this is one thing I heard is different versus from this 1000 model compared to the 2000 models. The 1000 models still carry their, you know, proprietary charging cables. And would you look at that, everything is actually brand new in box. You know, I had my doubts, you know, I was a little worried, but everything looks great. Let's pull this out. The charger with its PlayStation logo. Okay, moving this over. Now let's get to the actual Vita itself. This is exciting. You can already see the PS Vita logo on there. Let's flip this over and pull this thing out. Whoa. Look at that. Look, you can already compare this to the DualShocks in a sense, or actually I should say DualSense in a sense. Look at all these, you know, PlayStation logos back here. Very, very similar to what a DualSense has on it. So you can see there's some inspiration here. Looking at the screen and all, everything looks great. Doesn't look like any single scratches. There seems to be no wear and tear on this at all. So, you know, this thing was brand new. This thing looks incredible and it looks great. So let me go into why I chose this model out of all the others. So to start off, this one has its own proprietary charger. So here is where this PlayStation logo goes in. I think the 2000 models have a, I want to say it's some sort of USB. I don't recall which, but also the main reason for me choosing this model is the OLED screen. So this actually has an OLED screen in it versus an LCD screen. So the 2000 models are known as the slim versions and they come with an LCD screen. So, you know, PS Vita was ahead of the game when it came out, had an OLED screen in it. You know, to my knowledge, OLED wasn't even really, you know, too well known or talked about up until I would say a few years after this came out. Even now OLED TVs are very well known and across, you know, a ton of homes. But yeah, I just opted for this one to make sure, you know, I get to see those OLED visuals. Again, this is the 1000 model. It is the, you know, still supposed to be a little thicker, not as light as the 2000 model. Let's try to listen in on some of these button presses. Wow, this thing feels great. It feels great. You know, I have a Portal. I enjoy it, but at times the connectivity to it isn't the best. So, you know, I did want to opt for something that runs natively on a system. And so, you know, I've been wanting a PS Vita for a really long time, and I just finally decided to pull the trigger on it. And, you know, I decided to see if I could find something brand new. And you know what? I actually found this brand new for a really cheap price, honestly, compared to what others are going for. Others usually run brand new to be about $1,000, probably $1,200, anywhere from $1,000 to $1,200. And I actually got this for, you know, if you want to go ahead and take a guess in the comments, you know, feel free to. But if not, I'm going to tell you anyway. I spent about $850 on this, including, you know, shipping, tax and all, for this PS Vita brand new. And in that box, which I myself would consider mint, this is a steal. And you know, there's really nothing better. You can't get anything better brand new for that price point, or I should say any other PS Vita at that price point. I don't know how I got so lucky. I shot in an offer to the seller and he accepted it. So you know what, if for some reason he watches this, first off, sorry for opening it, but I'm going to be enjoying it. Second, you accepting that offer made my day, so definitely appreciate that. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at these buttons. This is the left trigger, the right trigger, volume up, volume down, and here we have the power button. In here I believe is one of the game card slots, so then it's a little blurry at the moment, you can't really see. Let me get it to focus in. So here, I'm not sure if you can see it too well, it says PS Vita, and this is another slot. So I believe one of these might be for the game cartridges, so I'm going to assume this one is for the game cartridge. They're very similar to the Nintendo Switch cartridges. And this one I'm going to assume, I'm not really sure what it's for. It's either for a memory extender, another SD card that you put in to extend the memory on it, which I believe this has no internal storage, so it does need an SD card, or it is either for a SIM card somewhere on here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the inside. So yep, that looks like that is where the game cartridge is inserted. And that little tiny hole there might be where the SD card is inserted. I'm going to be assuming SD card. But I'll do a little more research on this. Like I said, my brother has his own. I can show that one here in a second. So on the left is the 1100 model, the one I just unboxed, and on the right is the 1000 model, which is the Wi-Fi only. Again, this one has cell service, and this one does not, Wi-Fi only. Taking a look at them, they're both very similar. Both have the two inserts at the top. Bottom is the same. Everything is really pretty much the same. I can't really tell too much of a difference on them. It looks like they both have another opening here at the bottom. Let me see if I can get the camera to focus in. We never really played this one too much. We did use it for a bit. This is a touchpad sensor, very similar to the DualShock 4s when they were first released, and very similar to the touch sensor on the DualSense. So that was pretty cool. That was ahead of the game. This camera on here, I don't really recall too much what the camera was for. I don't remember if you could actually take photos with it, or if it was for game purposes. I'm gonna assume it was for being able to take some photos with it. I believe there's also a front camera on here. Let's take a look at that front camera right there. Look at this thing. This thing is perfect, brand new, or was brand new in box, but I'm going to be enjoying this. Taking a look at my brother's, this thing is not in terrible shape, honestly, for it having been just hidden away in a drawer somewhere. But I had to pull this out, and I found some games that he had for it. So reviewing some of the games that my brother had: Mortal Kombat, Uncharted Golden Abyss, Mod Nation Racers, and Assassin's Creed Liberation. I'm most likely going to be playing this on that Vita I just got. I personally wasn't sure which games to get for this thing, so I only went out on a limb, and I knew there was one game my brother didn't have, so I went and I bought that one off of eBay brand new as well. Let me not hold you here any longer. Let's get into that surprise mystery game. Let's check out this mystery game. Okay, so I also ordered this off of eBay, and I'm not really sure what the general price is for these, but it is brand new. Let's pop this open. And any guesses on what this mystery game is? Huh, there's a nice message in here. Dang, that's really cool. Alright, so looking at it, I'm not sure if you could already tell, but sliding it right on out, Little Big Planet PS Vita. I didn't even know this was a thing. When I was doing a little bit of research on the PS Vita, I was looking at what games I would be interested in getting, and I saw there is a Little Big Planet game for it. So, you know, I'm a pretty big fan of Little Big Planet, so I decided I had to get this, and I knew this is one game I would definitely enjoy on the PS Vita. Again, brand new. The price I paid for this was actually about I want to say like $50 actually, brand new. So I would assume that's probably what it cost, you know, brand new when it came out. So I would say this is another good steal of an item for it being brand new. Let's go ahead and cut this one right open, and that way you can see what a brand new PS Vita game looks like. These boxes are tiny. They're about, I would say, maybe like half the size of a PS5 box. So I know that probably hurts some people to have a, you know, I wouldn't so much call it vintage yet, maybe somewhat, because mostly, you know, Vitas are already discontinued. PS Vita games are no longer in production as well, but you know, it was a good price. I saw tons of them still on eBay brand new. I'm not sure, you know, if you're interested in PS Vitas, you know, you could always take your shot, throw an offer in, get one for about the same price. It kind of seems like that's what they run for brand new. Let's get into this. Look at that, a game cartridge. Little Big Planet, PS Vita. Let's pull this out. Dang, they're pretty thin. Actually feels kind of scary to pull it out of the box. Can't see it too well, but there it is. Well, that's interesting. Online pass activation code. I didn't even know it had an online pass. Let's throw this cartridge back in. This is most likely going to be the first game I'm playing on the Vita. But let's take a look at this online pass activation code. It's funny that it has one because, you know, the online servers, I believe, for all Little Big Planet games are no longer online. I actually bought this for that reason because, you know, Little Big Planet isn't online. Little Big Planet, who knows when it'll be coming back, if ever. But I definitely had to get this so I can see if I can even play it solo on the PS Vita. I'm not even sure if it needs to be connected to the internet to even get started to play the game, but I'm really hoping not. I haven't done too much research on it, but you know, I'm hoping to get right into this pretty soon. So one quick thing before, you know, we finish off this video, I was curious to see if this thing turns on after what is it, like 13 years of not being turned on ever. So I'm gonna hold the power button and let's see if this thing turns on. I'm doubting it does because, you know, usually they don't have any battery power in them, or they barely have any battery power in them when, you know, any new system is any new battery operated, you know, system or whatever is released. But I'd be very surprised if this still has some juice in it. Nope, held the button for about 3 seconds, maybe 4, nothing happened. Let me take a second to charge this real quick, and then I'll probably come right back around and then turn it on for you guys. Since I'm gonna be doing that, let's unbox this, or these cables. This light here just turned orange. I'm going to give it a few minutes and then I'll go ahead and try to turn it on screen, on camera for you guys. Alright, so while this Vita charges, I did see some 2000 models that, you know, run a lot cheaper. I assume it's because of the LCD screen and also because of the change in the proprietary charging port. and you know, I guess more people want to opt for the OLED screen, and I mean, that's what I did. So that might be why these 1000 and 1100 models run a little more expensive. That's just my assumption as to why it is. This PS Vita, I'm planning on keeping it original as is. I do not want to mod it. I do know there is a big modding community for this. I may eventually look into buying a separate PS Vita, but that one will be used and already modded if I do decide to, you know, ever get my hands on something like that. But you know, for now, again, I'm just letting it charge up. If you have any questions on PS Vitas, I mean, I'm not necessarily the most educated, as I'm about to be learning a little bit more about it with this system. But if there's anything you know that you find interesting, or any video games that you think are great for this system, please feel free to leave a comment, and you know, I'm gonna be getting to them because I am looking for video game recommendations for this PS Vita. So you know, I want to get the most out of it. I did pay $800 for it, so you know, I gotta make it worthwhile. All right, so it looks like the flashing orange light is gone on this, so it should be ready to be turned on. Let's go ahead and check it out. Battery level is low. Touchscreen, I forgot about that. This thing's got some jams, huh? Alright, so I'm gonna set all this stuff up off camera, but let me lower the volume on this. This OLED screen looks great though, and the screen turns on. This thing has not been charged. Battery's been dead for, let's say, I don't know, what were we saying, 13 years, something like that. Let's say give or take 13 at most. It looks good. It turns on. I'm very happy about that. I'm gonna be enjoying this. Maybe at some point in time catch my channel with some PS Vita gameplay. Hopefully, you know, maybe I'll put up some Little Big Planet gameplay if I get a chance to, you know, find a way to throw that gameplay from the PS Vita onto the YouTube screen. Let me throw this in here too. Thank you all so much for, you know, joining in on this video. If you liked it, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more content like this for all of you. Thanks all.